Hey, Alvernia community. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving and ate lots of good food. I have Lucine Sihelnik here, who is joining me for this month's Alumni Spotlight. And we're going to be talking about how her Alvernia degree has impacted her career. And also, of course, talking about our favorite Thanksgiving foods. So hi, Lucine. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning, Danielle. Thanks so much for having me as a guest.
Absolutely. Very honored. So if you could just start by telling me what your degrees are.
Sure. From Alvernia, which I guess is the most important, I have a master's in MALS, so a master in arts of liberal studies. I think that it's probably had several iterations since I was able to obtain my master's degree, so it might have a little bit of a different name or a different structure, but it was the MALS program, and I was focused on sustainability and leadership when I was doing my coursework.
Wonderful. Can you also tell me what your bachelor's was in and where you got that from?
Sure. So I have a bachelor's degree from Loyola University, what used to be Loyola College. So fun fact, I went to Loyola when it was a college and I went to Alvernia when it was a college. And super proud that both have progressed into university status. From Loyola in 2002, I graduated with a double a double major in English literature and writing and a double minor in French and sociology. So pretty hefty lift for undergraduate work. And then perfect complement, in my opinion, I really felt with my master's degree at Alvernia.
Wow, that's great. So you have a whole mix of degrees there and areas of focus. So did you know what you wanted to do at that time? I mean, getting your bachelor's and then going on to Alvernia to get your master's, did you know where you wanted to go or do?
I had no idea. And I think there was a lot of pressure going into, for my undergraduate's degree. I had romanticized, I think, that I wanted to write for something like Bon Appetit magazine. I think that was my initial dream, version one. And so through that, I think it was just the opportunity of different experiences. Living in the city of Baltimore was incredible. And, starting to immerse myself in the community as we do. Both of my degrees are from institutions that are faith-based. And one is Franciscan and one is Jesuit. So there are some differences, but that has actually been critical in kind of my development as an individual and professionally. So it does give you real life experience and servant leadership experience and those types of things where you kind of, even if you don't know exactly what you want to do, you start to be able to engage and meet people and meet people of the community and the professional world that can kind of give you some experience and direction. And that's kind of what happened. I had actually started I had taken my LSATs, believe it or not. So my next version was to be Amal Clooney, really. I wanted to become an international lawyer, and really fight for the rights of people and humanity. And then I had also finally registered for my master's degree in education at Towson University, and I had started my coursework there. But again, because, I was teaching in the city public school systems in Baltimore, I had the ability to intern in the private and public sector of international law. I really got that field experience to say, I don't think this is it yet. This isn't quite the right fit. The other thing too, for me, Danielle, that was critical is that I did not take the traditional, traditional path, as most people refer to, which is right out of high school, continuing into your higher ed, continuing on. I took a break. And so then when I finally finished my master's in leadership, at Alvernia, it was the right time and the right place for me to have experienced life enough to then give it direction to where I am now.
And I feel like that's so smart. And like, you seem like such a wonderful example of what people fear is like that unknown and not knowing what to do. But you thought to, okay, I need a break. Let me figure out what I want. And then I'm going to go for it. And then I'm going to try a bunch of different things until I figure out where my path is supposed to be taking me. And I think that's awesome.
Thanks. I think that the unknown is something that's always been a motivator for me. So, there's always the opportunity to stay with what's familiar, and to not feel that, you're worried or being challenged, right? So if you always feel that you're on top of the mountain wherever you are, then you're not going to try to pursue anything else. But I think that unknown has always been something, that helps me drive into my purpose. And I talked about this a little bit last week. And I think that gives me the momentum, and drive, instead of letting fear, kind of overtake well, this is what I've always supposed to do, or this is where people expect me, or this is what my degree or my professional title, puts me into a category for. It was more focusing on, hey, this is exciting. This encourages me to try to find what really is next, or the right thing.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that. So can you tell me kind of how this all led you to what your current employment is, and just kind of tell us about what you do?
So my current employment, again, is not atypical. I can't say I am a fill in the blank, and have that completely summarized. But I think most people these days can't either, which is a really good thing. And so currently, I'm finishing a term on city council for the city of Reading. And my district that I've represented is District 1, which does include Alvernia, on the Hill, so our main campus, and also includes, the Public Museum and even the Santander Arena downtown. So it's really an interesting, big, diverse district. I'm really proud to say that I'm the vice president of the city council body, which is a female supermajority. So that makes me really proud, to be representing our community in that way in leadership. So I think that it's a testament to me continuing, my leadership capabilities in a way, through public service. So I always kind of veer away from a politician, although I did run and was elected into office. So there is politics about it. But I think that, I'm finishing that term, which was 4 years. I decided not to run again for a reelection. I think it's critical that as leaders in our community, we actually do a sustainable approach to leadership, which is encouraging, lifting, and guiding others to fulfill their dreams and talents of leadership, and not just status quo, staying in the lane forever and ever. We need to be encouraging and enhancing everyone around us to really become better. And I believe that for the city of Reading. And so the opportunity there really complemented my focus on my community organization that I founded when I left the Reading Hospital and finished my degree at Alvernia. So I had focused on creating a community organization called Gaia True Wellness that gave me the ability to be a sole proprietor, and to really navigate through project management, grant facilitation and research, writing, and coordination, and really kind of governance, policy. So all the things that I really loved to do, and I had learned the skill sets to do, especially in the world of nonprofits, but giving me a platform to do that, from a environmental, social governance approach. So a lot of people talk about ESG now. It wasn't as popular back then. We were always trying to say it's the principles of sustainability. It's our planet. It's about profit. It's about our people. These are the drivers. So I still do that. And interestingly enough, something that I'm headed into with my husband, who will be my partner, is a venture focused on entrepreneurship in downtown. So I'm really excited that we will be opening a brick and mortar creamery, probably a micro creamery, in downtown called the Great American Creamery, probably January 1. So there's a couple of different things there that I'm doing right now. In addition to just my service to the community, I volunteer on several boards. I'm really excited to be a newly nominated trustee for Alvernia University. I mean, I can't wait to really jump in and learn and glean as much as I can from the fellow trustees and President Woyak, and of course the sisters who are amazing. And so kind of in a nutshell, that's where I am professionally.
Wow, you are doing so much and you are super involved. And I love how you're just a little bit in everything.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me how the idea to start the Great American Creamery came about. That's so interesting and different.
Danielle, it is what I like to call a pandemic project. So there are so many ways that we all experienced the pandemic. And what it did was also give us the opportunity and the time, to be with our loved ones, to also really have time of contemplation, and, in the magnitude of what we experienced, physically, mentally, and emotionally. That was something that, again, my husband and I sat down, we had lots of time, and we were always together with my 4-year-old to talk, about all the things that were on our minds. We're normally, in our everyday, if we hadn't been in that environment, we'd be just like two ships passing, in the night. Who's taking him to preschool? Where are you going? Who's doing dinner? What activities do we have today? And a lot of people, had normalized that, where it was just, we're just in the moment of what we're doing. We're not really thinking about what we want to do. So this creamery was a project where it brought together mutual interests. And, we said, okay, for fun fact. So my husband's father was an ice cream man in the city of Reading for 30 years. He had an ice cream truck called Manny's Ice Cream in the northeast quadrant of the city. And a lot of Greeks, he's Greek, a lot of Greeks were involved in the ice cream business. And so my husband grew up helping his dad, make ice cream, going out to Clover Farms, getting the mix space and the milks locally, and doing those types of things. And for me, it was really critical. I focused a lot on economic development, and I really do believe that what we need is our local entrepreneur base. We need to encourage small businesses, especially post-pandemic. Unfortunately, we saw some businesses who just did not make it, right? So they call them, kind of brashly COVID closures. And so that's a really important part of our economy, especially locally, especially for the city of Reading. So I wanted to do something that was going to boost our local economy and also look at some local growth sectors like agriculture, which for Berks is really critical. Also trying to showcase that it is possible for people to start up businesses on, a like mom and pop shop level, with the potential being immense with all of our business incubators and programs and access to resources like we have at Alvernia, our college town, downtown, which is offering so many of those things in partnerships with other organizations. And so, kind of just the ability to showcase and to experience that as an entrepreneur. We were really excited to say, hey, let's try to do something together for our family and see how it works and create an ice cream empire.
That is awesome. And I mean, it's going to be downtown, so it's going to help to be part of that revitalization of downtown. And I'm sure it's going to be a spot that students flock to too.
We hope so.
Yeah. I mean, it's so great, but how, it's going to be the only ice cream shop in downtown, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was critical, when we talk about elevating our downtown, right? And I say that a lot in my political speak. But, I live it, I eat it, breathe it, because I also live in the city of Reading. And so, we wanted to create family-friendly opportunities for downtown. When guests come and stay at the DoubleTree, when they come and, go to a hockey game or a concert, or all of the other various things that you can do in our city, we wanted them to stay, not to come in and leave, come and get an ice cream and go walk at City Park or go for a picnic or do the mural, art tour. We have so much art downtown. So, there are great restaurants. There are, bars, if that's something you're into. There's art. But there was no ice cream. And we felt like everybody loves ice cream, even if you're lactose intolerant, you still love it, right? Or if you're on a diet. And we thought, it could really bring happiness and bring people together, and really be kind of a beacon for what we want to see downtown. And the fact that it's a local entrepreneur and a local family taking that opportunity. I think we need a really good mix. I think it is fantastic that, College Town was able to bring a Starbucks, that level of, commercial and retail, from a national level, international chain, is critical because people do look for Starbucks. They do look for Dunkin' Donuts. They do look, for those things. However, we need to make sure that people have the opportunity for our locally owned businesses to go in there and complement and grow themselves with those partners.
Yeah, you're so right, because besides the Santander Arena, which is, family friendly, there's, bringing an ice cream place downtown makes it even more family friendly. And you're right, it makes you want to stay. And having the Starbucks now makes it a lot more businessy for business people to come, have meetings, hang out, talk. And it's that sense of community coming together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we are right next door in our location at 645 Penn Street, which is the 600 block. And we're basically this quadrant of the DoubleTree, the Santander Arena, our block, and the new what will be coming for the Wells Fargo building that was just purchased. Our next door neighbors are the Science Center, and it couldn't be more perfect, right? So they are also very family friendly oriented. I love what their mission is and what they are doing. And when you talk about business orientation, we have pre-COVID, we had about 10,000 people in terms of foot traffic walking and working during the week in downtown. So we have to serve, that's a target audience or population for us. And so one of the things we wanted to do with the Creamery was to create an event space. So we do have a room, but it's not necessarily just a birthday party room. We are keeping it neutral with a large monitor and screen with some technology. So we could actually encourage people to have some business meetings in there over ice cream. And, we just want to be involved in the community in which we're creating in our downtown.
What a great idea. And it sounds like you have a really great location too. So super excited for that to open up. I will be there.
Fantastic.
So I feel like, in a sense, you do so much, but it seems like what makes you so passionate about your work is that sense of community and revitalization and helping to be sustainable as well, right?
Yes, and that's really my umbrella of how I piece it all together. I think from the outside, I do get a lot of comments, you do a lot of things, you have a lot of irons in the fire. How do you keep up with everything? And, for me, it all makes sense. Right. And the sustainability piece is really that umbrella, like I said. So I try not to veer out of what I am familiar with and what I feel is a purpose or a passion. And when I have to say in like one sentence what I do, which is so hard, but it's like, I really focus on community and economic development, because that really pulls it together nicely with a bow, to kind of then start to unpack, where and how and why I do the things that I do.
That's wonderful. Can you just talk a little bit about the impact that your Alvernia degree has had on everything that you've been doing?
Well, I think what is really critical for me is that I went for my degree at Alvernia as an adult. And I had chosen to be in this community. So for me, obtaining my degree at Alvernia in within where I was living and I was working was really critical, because it was the real world for me. It wasn't a hypothetical, what will I do next? It was, I'm already in what I'm doing. And so Alvernia was able to really help me create this network within, my community where I was, and I wanted to invest or reinvest. So for me, that was very important. You know, through the Office of Career Development, which is where I worked as a graduate assistant, that gave me a lot of tools and ability to connect with people and employers and leaders in our community and alumni, in the work that you're doing, to a critical level, so that really it's a platform that prepares you for anything that you want to do, and what we want to see too, whether it's an undergraduate or a graduate level, is not to have a brain gain, right? So a lot of times you hear the other side of that term, but I want to stay focused on the positive and put it out to the universe. We want to see our graduates on an undergraduate and graduate level staying here in our community to enhance what we are and what we have the ability to be. I know that I did leave, and, for my undergraduate's degree, I left right out of high school, and I didn't come back to Berks County until I was an adult, but I did come back and I made that choice intentionally. And then Alvernia was part of that choice. Also, what's really important to me is that Alvernia, I had touched on this earlier, is a faith-based institution. For my family, spirituality is really important. We are members of our church, and the principles and really kind of the moral compass that comes to us from having faith-based institutions of education, of employment, and within our community, kind of help guide and drive us, as to who we are and how we want to exemplify what we do. I think that really helps me, in how I approach things and how I make decisions as a leader. It just really goes hand in hand. So for me, that was really critical with Alvernia and what Alvernia has done for me. And I think the most important thing is really along with the mission alignment too. So, part of being locally based and having a spirituality component to what we do is also that servant leadership that we talk about. So, it all really, for me, just brought it all together. It just brought all the pieces fundamentally of what I felt that I needed to be successful.
It seems like you took every aspect of Alvernia, service, contemplation, like leadership. You just took everything and just applied it to what you're doing. And it's fantastic to see that, someone recognizes that, this is what Alvernia gave to me. This is what I'm doing with it. And you recognize that these types of qualities came from your time here. And that's great. So let's get a little fun now. So can you tell me an interesting fact about yourself?
Oh my goodness. Well,
I mean, you've spewed a lot out there already, but
thanks. So something that really surprises people who don't know me or only know me in the professional foray is that I'm a certified yoga teacher. I have a 200-hour, actually more than that now, because I've been teaching for over 10 years, but I'm certified and I love yoga. And it's something that I did kind of as a little break and a self-exploration for me when I was transitioning into my early professional career. That's when, you know, I hadn't decided to fully commit to continuing my education on a master's level, but I love learning. I'm a life learner. I've even taken courses at RAC in Intro to Japanese and things like that. I just really love to constantly engage myself and be learning. So interesting fact, I'm a yoga instructor and a yoga teacher, and I love doing it. Also a student. I love being a yoga student too.
Oh my gosh, do you have any free time? Wow, you just do everything.
Yeah.
You're like Wonder Woman. You're
Thanks,
everywhere,
I
all
appreciate that.
doing everything. And you're a mom and a wife.
I'm a mom. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
that's incredible. And you
Yeah,
don't
that's the
even
most.
get stressed.
Oh, yes, not at all. That's the yoga. Um, there's a reason to everything that I do, right? So being a mom and being involved in public service is very high stress. It's, you know, being a partner in a marriage, you know, so you do all these things to kind of balance each other out, you know, and I think being a mom is my most favorite thing. I absolutely love it. And everything else kind of revolves around that, to be honest.
As it should. It should. Your family should come first. So that's good. All right. Thanksgiving. What is your favorite part about Thanksgiving?
Well, I think it's just wrapped around like gratitude for me, because people come and go depending on where they live or if you can come together or not. And, you know, but it's all really reflecting the gratitude that we have, you know, for each other and for the simple things that we sometimes, you know, take for granted in our life. But lately I've been focused also on a favorite like food, you know, and something. So I am a vegetarian, full disclosure, and I do eat dairy and, you know, like eggs and cheese and things like that. But I seem to always cause conflict for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because you got the turkey and you don't eat it, right?
Right. This like showpiece, right? Is always the turkey. And so a couple of years ago, I started researching and my cultural roots are Armenian. So I am Armenian. And one of the traditional dishes and kind of wrapped around into folklore was a stuffed pumpkin, which is called a kampama. And so I started playing around with those recipes. So I made one for Thanksgiving, and it's really, you know, a great showpiece next to the turkey because it's this gorgeous like stuffed pumpkin, and it's stuffed with this year I did lentils and a mixture of wild rice with dried fruit like cherries and apricots and golden raisins. And I also put in some pecans and spices like cinnamon and honey and clove. And you bake it for like 3 hours in the pumpkin. You stuff the pumpkin and you bake it. And then you serve it at the table as a pumpkin, and then you slice it. The slices fall open and it looks like this gorgeous sunflower with all of this beautiful fruit and nuts, you know, filling inside. So I think that's become one of my favorite traditions for Thanksgiving.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like, I mean, it sounds amazing, but it also sounds like it looks gorgeous, like probably prettier than a turkey.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna take some photos, so I'll try to circle back and share them on social media platforms.
Yes, I have to see what this looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So are you the only one that eats it, or will your family eat it too?
We have good eaters in our family. So I think most people are gonna eat it. They're gonna try it, and yeah, I think everyone's gonna try it.
So is that your favorite food for Thanksgiving?
For Thanksgiving, I would say it's either that or pecan pie. I really, it's like probably one of the worst things for you ever, and you know, but for some reason I love it. It's one of my favorites.
I always go like back and forth between pecan pie, apple pie, and pumpkin pie. I'm like, I need all the pies.
It's so good. And sweet potato is another one in that rotation, right? Because it's more traditional, I think, in the South. but it's just as good as pumpkin pie. Little bit of a difference. You know what goes really good with pie, Danielle? Ice cream.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So
No wonder you love pie. You had
there
to
you go.
merge it together there. There's a new ice cream flavor for you. Pecan pie ice cream.
I'm on it. Research and development. It's going to take a lot of research and development to perfect that, I think.
You can do it. You can totally do it. So just kind of wrapping up here. What is one piece of advice that you wish you had known when you were a student that you could tell a current student now going through school?
Well, I believe that what would have been most powerful for me to hear at that time was don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. So you do not have to decide right now what you're going to do and how you're going to do it for the rest of your life. This is just part of the journey that will continue ultimately for many, many years. So don't be afraid to have to kind of, like I said, reinvent yourself and say, oh, you know, this piece of what I'm studying or learning right now is really important, but it may not be the 100% focus of what I do. You know, I may be able to take this into a factor that I never considered before, and don't be afraid of the unknown.
Wonderful advice for anyone, honestly. Thank you so much, Lucine, for your time in this interview. It has been wonderful getting to know you. I hope everybody else enjoys it as well.
Danielle, thanks so much. And I really appreciated spending some time with you and talking about all the things and also the work that you do. Thanks for bringing this to the students and to the alum and keeping all of us relevant and together as a community.
Of course. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.